My wife Rebecca came home from her doctor's appointment on a Tuesday afternoon and announced she'd been diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety. The doctor said I need to take time off work, she said, sitting on the couch with a prescription bottle. He's putting me on medical leave for at least 3 months. I sat down next to her. I'm sorry, honey. I didn't realize things had gotten that bad. What can I do to help? Just be patient with me. The doctor said I need rest, minimal stress, and space to heal. Of course. Whatever you need. She'd been seeing Dr. Andruchon for a few weeks. I'd encourage her to go after she'd been having mood swings and complaining about feeling overwhelmed. Over the next few days, Rebecca leaned into her diagnosis. She stayed in bed until noon, canceled plans with friends, spoke in a quiet, fragile voice. I just can't handle anything right now, she'd say. My mental health has to come first. I took over cooking, cleaning, shopping. Handled everything so she could rest. I worked from home as a financial consultant, so I was there most days. But Rebecca spent hours in our bedroom with the door closed. Resting, she said. After 2 weeks, I noticed her phone buzzing constantly. When I asked about it, she said it was her support group. Dr. Chun recommended I join an online community for people with depression. They message throughout the day. It helps me feel less alone. That's great. I'm glad you found support. But something felt off. Rebecca seemed perfectly fine when she thought I wasn't watching. I catch her laughing at her phone, smiling, energetic. The moment she saw me, she'd switch. Slow movements, sad expression, tired voice. One afternoon, I came home early from client meeting. Walked in quietly because I'd forgotten my laptop charger. I heard Rebecca's voice from upstairs, laughing, talking to someone. I know, right? It's perfect. He completely believes I'm depressed. Does everything for me while I just relax all day. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, listening. The doctor's note was so easy to get. I just looked up symptoms online and told him what to write. Now I have 3 months off with full pay. My chest tightened. When are you coming over? He's got a client dinner tonight. We'll have the whole house. I know. I can't wait either. No, he has no idea. He thinks I'm too depressed to leave the bedroom. She laughed again. That bright, genuine laugh I hadn't heard directed at me in months. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Walked up the stairs quietly. I have to be careful though. Can't seem too happy or he'll get suspicious. The key is to act fragile whenever he's around. Yeah, exactly. He feels so guilty leaving me alone that he barely questions anything anymore. I pushed the bedroom door open. Rebecca was lying on our bed in lingerie, phone in her ear, smiling. She saw me, and her expression went from joy to shock to fear in 2 seconds. I'll call you back, she said quickly and hung up. Who was that? I asked, still recording. My therapist. Dr. Chun. Dr. Chin thinks you should wear lingerie during phone sessions. I was getting dressed. At 2 p.m. in lingerie? While telling someone about your plan to fake depression. You were listening to a private conversation. You were faking a mental illness in my house. Who were you talking to, Rebecca? She sat up, pulling the blanket around her. The fragile act was gone. Her voice was normal, defensive. It's not what you think. Then explain. Explain how you got a fake medical diagnosis, how you're getting paid leave while pretending to be depressed, and who you were talking to about having the house to ourselves. She stared at me. I could see her trying to calculate her next move. I need you to leave, I said quietly. Right now. Get dressed and get out. This is my house too. This is the house I own, that I bought before we married, that you moved into 3 years ago. Get out. You can't kick me out. I have a medical condition. You just admitted to faking it. I have it recorded. So get dressed and leave, or I call the police and play them this recording. She got dressed, grabbed some clothes, her purse, her phone, kept trying to explain, to walk it back, to claim I'd misunderstood. I didn't respond. Just stood there until she left. The moment her car pulled out of the driveway, I called my attorney, Martin Brooks. Martin, I need to file for divorce immediately, and I need to report insurance fraud. What happened? I told him everything. Played him the recording. Robert, this is serious. If she's collecting disability pay under false pretenses, that's fraud. If she filed insurance claims, that's fraud. You need to report this to her employer and her insurance company. I will. But first, divorce papers. Today. I'll have them ready by end of day. I hung up and called Dr. Chin's office. I need to speak to Dr. Chin about my wife, Rebecca Foster. She's a patient of his. I'm sorry, sir. I can't discuss patient information. I'm not asking you to. I'm informing you that my wife admitted to me today that she fabricated her symptoms to get a fraudulent medical leave. I have a recording of her confession. I think Dr. Chun should know his diagnosis was based on false information. There was a pause. Hold, please. 2 minutes later, a man's voice. This is Dr. Chun. You said your wife fabricated symptoms. Yes. I have a recording of her admitting it. She looked up symptoms online and told you what to say. She's been using your diagnosis to get paid medical leave while spending her days with her boyfriend. Mr. Foster, if this is true, this is a serious violation. I'll need to review her file and potentially revoke my medical certification. I'll send you the recording. I'm also reporting this to her employer and insurance company. That's appropriate. I'm sorry you're going through this. I hung up and called Rebecca's employer. Asked for HR. This is Robert Foster. My wife, Rebecca Foster, is on medical leave for depression. I'm calling to inform you that she fabricated her diagnosis. I have a recording of her admitting it. I'm sending it to you now along with a formal complaint. The HR director was shocked. Mr. Foster, if this is accurate, this is disability fraud. We'll need to investigate immediately. I understand. I'm also filing for divorce and reporting this to the insurance company. I sent the recording to Dr. Chun, HR, and the insurance company that covered Rebecca's disability payments. Then I called the phone company and requested detailed records for Rebecca's number. The most frequently called number belonged to a Jason Martinez. I looked him up. Age 32, personal trainer, worked at the gym where Rebecca had a membership. I screenshot his social media profiles and sent everything to Martin. By 6 p.m., divorce papers were ready. By 7 p.m., a process server had delivered them to the hotel where Rebecca had checked in. By 8 p.m., my phone was exploding. Rebecca, how could you do this to me? Rebecca, I'm going through a mental health crisis and you're abandoning me. Rebecca, everyone is going to know what kind of man you are. I didn't respond. Then a call from an unknown number. Is this Robert Foster? Yes. This is Jason Martinez. I think we need to talk. About what? About Rebecca. And this mess you're creating. I'm not creating anything. I found out my wife was faking mental illness to spend time with you. I reported fraud. That's it. She's sick. She needs help, not you making things worse. She admitted on tape that she's faking. She was laughing about how easy it was to fool everyone. You included, apparently. That's not. She wouldn't. I'm sending you the recording. You can hear for yourself what she really thinks. I sent him the audio file. 2 minutes later. Oh my God. Yeah. So if you want to keep seeing her, that's between you two. But I'm divorcing her. She's being investigated for fraud, and she's not getting a penny from me. He hung up. 3 days later, Rebecca's employer called me. Mr. Foster, this is Janet Wilson from HR. We've completed our preliminary investigation. Based on the recording you provided and Dr. Chen's statement that he's revoking his diagnosis, we're terminating Rebecca's employment for fraud. She'll also need to repay the disability payment she received. That's approximately $15,000 over 6 weeks. Thank you for letting me know. We may also pursue criminal charges. We're consulting with our legal team. The insurance company called the next day. Mr. Foster, we've reviewed your complaint. We're denying all of Rebecca's claims and requiring full repayment of benefits paid. We're also flagging her in our system and reporting this to the State Insurance Fraud Bureau. Rebecca's life was imploding, and she'd done it to herself. She tried calling me from different numbers, sent emails, showed up at my office. Robert, please. I made a mistake. I was confused. I do have depression. I exaggerated to the doctor. You admitted to faking it entirely. I have the recording. You misunderstood. I was joking with a friend. Jason Martinez is your friend? Is that what we're calling affair partners now? I never slept with him. I don't care if you did or didn't. You lied about being mentally ill. You defrauded your employer. You wasted medical resources. You made me take care of you like you were actually sick when you were just lazy and having an affair. I'm sorry. I'll pay back the money. I'll do whatever it takes. You can start by signing the divorce papers. I can't afford a lawyer. That's not my problem. 2 weeks later, the State Insurance Fraud Bureau contacted me. They were opening a criminal investigation. Mr. Foster, your wife could face charges of insurance fraud, which is a felony. We're building a case based on the evidence you provided. A month after I discovered the truth, Rebecca was charged with insurance fraud and disability fraud. Felony charges carrying up to 5 years in prison. Her attorney negotiated a plea deal. Guilty plea, 18 months probation, restitution of all money received fraudulently, community service, and permanent record. She took it. The divorce moved forward. Rebecca couldn't afford a fight. Her attorney was court-appointed. Martin presented evidence of the affair, the fraud, the recording. Rebecca had no defense. I got everything. The house, the savings, the investments. She got her personal belongings and her criminal record. The divorce was final 3 months after I'd found out. Rebecca moved in with her parents. Lost her job, her reputation, her marriage. Was paying restitution monthly from a minimum wage job she'd found at a call center. Jason had dumped her the day he heard the recording. Apparently, faking mental illness to cheat wasn't attractive to him. 6 months after the divorce, I met someone. Her name was Kate. She was a nurse practitioner, genuine and kind. On our 4th date, she asked about my ex. What happened? She faked having depression to get paid medical leave so she could spend time with her boyfriend. I recorded her admitting it, reported the fraud, filed for divorce. Kate's eyes widened. She faked mental illness. Completely. Looked up symptoms online, lied to her doctor, fooled her employer. That's disgusting. As someone who works in healthcare, that kind of thing makes me furious. People who actually have mental illness struggle to be believed because of people like her. That's what bothered me most. Not even the affair. The fact that she weaponized mental illness for her own benefit. You did the right thing reporting it. I wasn't sure at first. Felt harsh. But then I realized she was stealing from her employer, committing fraud, and making a mockery of people who actually suffer. Harsh would be letting her get away with it. A year after the divorce, I saw Rebecca at a grocery store. She was in her work uniform from the call center, looking exhausted. She saw me and froze. Robert. Rebecca. How are you? Good. You. I'm surviving. Paying off restitution. Trying to rebuild. I hope that goes well for you. Do you? You destroyed my life. I reported fraud. You destroyed your own life when you decided to fake being mentally ill. I was going through something. I wasn't thinking clearly. You were thinking clearly enough to plan it, execute it, and laugh about how well it was working. I made a mistake. You made a series of deliberate choices, and you're facing the consequences. That's not me destroying your life. That's justice. Everyone thinks I'm a terrible person. You fake depression while people with actual depression struggle every day. You defrauded your employer and insurance company. You cheated on your husband. What did you expect people to think? She started crying. I can't get a decent job because of my record. I'm stuck at a call center making $13 an hour. I have 3 more years of restitution payments. Then you have 3 more years to think about why faking mental illness was a bad idea. You're cruel. I'm honest. There's a difference. I paid for my groceries and left. Kate was waiting in the car. Was that her? Yeah. She looked miserable. She is. She's paying restitution for the next 3 years, working minimum wage, living with her parents. Do you feel bad? No. She didn't just cheat on me. She mocked people with real mental illness. She stole money. She lied to medical professionals. That's not a mistake. That's character. Good answer. 2 years after the divorce, Kate and I got married. Small ceremony, close friends and family. At the reception, my best friend David gave a toast. To Robert, who had the wisdom to recognize fraud when he saw it, and the strength to walk away from it. And to Kate, who's the real deal. Everyone raised their glasses. That night, Kate said, I'm proud of you, you know. For what? For not letting Rebecca's fake illness guilt you into staying. A lot of people would have felt obligated to take care of her. I did it first, but then I heard the truth. Once I knew it was fake, staying would have made me complicit. Exactly. You protected yourself, and you made sure she faced consequences. That takes strength. 3 years after the divorce, I heard through mutual friends that Rebecca had finally paid off her restitution, was working as an administrative assistant somewhere, making $30,000 a year, still living with her parents, still single, still had a felony record that limited her job prospects. I felt nothing hearing about it. No satisfaction, no sympathy, just nothing. She'd made her choices. I'd made mine. She'd chosen to fake mental illness for sympathy and time to cheat. I'd chosen to expose the fraud and walk away. We were both living with those choices. 5 years after the divorce, Kate and I had our first child, a daughter named Emma. I was changing Emma's diaper when Kate said, "I got a message today from Rebecca." I looked up. What did she want? She wanted to apologize. To both of us. Said she's been in therapy, real therapy, and she understands now what she did wrong. What did you say? I didn't respond. But I wanted to tell you about it. Do you think I should respond? That's up to you. But honestly, I don't think you owe her anything. She made her choices. You've moved on. She can apologize to her own conscience. Agreed. I never responded to Rebecca. Didn't block her, didn't engage. Just nothing. She'd wanted sympathy for a fake illness. She'd gotten consequences for real fraud. That was fair. 10 years after the divorce, my daughter Emma was 5 years old. Kate and I had built a life based on honesty and trust. I never thought about Rebecca, except when someone brought her up. And even then, only briefly. She'd taught me an important lesson. Sympathy is precious. Don't waste it on people who fake their suffering while mocking those who actually suffer. I'd applied that lesson to every relationship since. Been cautious about people who played victim. Been alert to manipulation disguised as vulnerability. Been protective of my energy and my empathy. Rebecca had tried to use mental illness as a shield for her affair and her laziness. Instead, it had become the weapon that destroyed her credibility forever. Because once people knew she'd fake something that's serious, they never trusted her again. Her own parents had told mutual friends they were ashamed of what she'd done. Her former colleagues avoided her. The man she'd had the affair with had wanted nothing to do with her once the truth came out. She thought she was being clever. She'd actually been destroying herself. And I'd just been the one who turned on the lights so everyone else could see what I'd seen. The fraud, the lies, the manipulation. That wasn't cruel. That was necessary. Because if I hadn't reported it, she'd still be doing it. To someone else. For something else. The recording I'd made that day had saved me. And potentially saved whoever came after me from the same manipulation. That was worth any guilt I might have felt. Which was none. Rebecca had made her bed with lies about mental illness. Now she was lying in it. Alone. Paying for it. For years. And that was exactly what she deserved. Not because she'd cheated, but because she'd weaponized mental illness. And that was unforgivable. The affair was just the catalyst. The fraud was the crime. And the consequences were justice. Simple as that. I went back to changing Emma's diaper. Kate was making breakfast. The sun was coming through the kitchen window. This was my life now. Honest. Real. Built on truth. No fake illnesses. No manufactured sympathy. No manipulation disguised as vulnerability. Just a wife who showed up every day as her authentic self. A daughter who was learning integrity from both of us. And a future that wasn't built on lies. Rebecca had wanted the easy way. Fake sick, get paid, have an affair, manipulate sympathy. She'd gotten the hard way instead. Criminal record, restitution, lost career, lost marriage, lost reputation. I'd chosen the honest way. Report the fraud. In the marriage, rebuild with someone real. I'd gotten peace, partnership, and a family I could trust. The math wasn't even close. Rebecca's fake mental illness had cost her everything real. My real response had given me everything authentic. And I'd never regret the choice I made that day. To record the truth. To report the fraud. To walk away from the lies. Best decision of my life. Second only to marrying Kate, who would never dream of faking illness for sympathy. Because she had too much integrity. And that was worth more than all the sympathy in the world. Real trumps fake. Every single time. Rebecca learned that the hard way. I learned it in time to build something better. And that made all the difference.